Hello and a warm welcome to South Asia Today, where we bring you in-depth insights into the key events shaping South Asia. I am Shivangi Mishra and here are today's top stories. India launches Operation Sindoor on terrorist networks in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Nepal's Red God Chariot Festival begins with traditional rituals. And growing unrest in Gilgit-Baltistan over deepening employment crisis. In a thunderous echo of justice, India awakened the dawn with Operation Sindoor, a calculated, decisive strike on terror hideouts deep within Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. This bold retaliation follows the tragic loss of 26 innocent male tourists at the hands of Pakistan-based terrorists. As the sun rose on May 7th, it illuminated not just the skies, but India's unyielding resolve. Here's what we know so far about this seismic operation.
In a swift and strategic response to a brutal terrorist attack that left 26 dead, including 2 government officials on leave, India launched precision strikes at 9 locations across Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir early Wednesday morning, targeting the perpetrators affiliated with a Pakistan-based terror outfit. In a bold and calculated move, India unveiled Operation Sindoor, a precision strike launched in the wee hours of Wednesday. Spearheaded by the joint forces of the Indian Armed Forces, the operation zeroed in on terrorist strongholds across Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, dismantling the very networks believed to orchestrate attacks on Indian soil. This response came in the wake of the horrific Pahalgam terror strike, an act New Delhi described as barbaric and unforgivable. Yet, the tone of India's action was deliberate and disciplined, focused, proportionate, and designed not to escalate tensions but to neutralize threats at their source. Briefing media about the success operation, government official informed that 9 high-value targets were struck with precision. These included Jaish-e-Mohammed sanctuaries in Muzaffarabad and Kotli, and in Bahawalpur and Tehra Kala, a Hizbul Mujahideen location in Kotli, and Lashkar-e-Taiba bases scattered across Sialkot, Muridke and Barnala, with another in Muzaffarabad.
Earlier this morning, as you would be aware, India exercised its right to respond and preempt as well as deter more such cross-border attacks. These actions were measured, non-escalatory, proportionate, and responsible. They focused on dismantling the terrorist infrastructure and disabling terrorists likely to be sent across to India. It was deemed essential that the perpetrators and planners of the 22nd April attack be brought to justice. Despite a fortnight having passed since the attacks, there has been no demonstrable step from Pakistan to take action against the terrorist infrastructure on its territory or on territory under its control. Instead, all it has indulged in are denials and allegations.
India said the strikes were needed to stop more cross-border attacks after trying diplomacy many times. The operation sent a clear message. India's patience has limits.
We are not attacking Pakistan military. We are not attacking Pakistan fighting capability. We are attacking the terrorists. The same terrorists, Pakistan says they kill us also. Pakistan is always saying that we are also suffering from terrorists. So we are actually helping them getting rid of the terrorists. So Pakistan should be grateful to us and thankful that you are eliminating them, because they themselves say the terrorists, we are also fed up of terrorists. So that's what we have done. So we are doing a favor to not only Pakistanis, but entire humanity by getting rid of the vermins. And that's what we've done.
After these strikes, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi led a cabinet meeting in New Delhi. The government also called an all-party meeting to update the opposition on the action taken. In response, Pakistan began artillery shelling across the line of control, targeting civilians. As a precaution against further attacks, Indian Airlines temporarily suspended flights in northern India, including at Srinagar and Amritsar airports. Israel, Russia, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Italy, including numerous countries, have expressed support for India's actions, emphasizing its right to self defense against terrorism while calling for restraint in response to the escalating situation with Pakistan. Families of the Pahalgam terror attack victims welcomed the government's move and thanked Prime Minister Modi for taking action.
भारतीय सेना ने रात को 2 बजे जो एयर स्ट्राइक की है, पाकिस्तान के जो आतंकी सेंटर है उन पर हमला किया है, तो मैं खुशी करता हूँ। मुझे गर्व हो रहा है कि भारतीय सेना ने और मोदी साहब ने जो बोली कही थी वो आज सच करके दिखाई और पाकिस्तान पर हमला किया, और हमारी जो बापूजी और मेरा भाई है उनके दिव्य आत्मा को शांति मिलेगी।
इसमें तो हम खुश हैं कि जिन 26 लोगों की मेरे बेटे के साथ वहाँ पे जाने चली गई, तो आज जो उन 26 लोगों का बदला वहाँ पे लिया गया, तो हम तो खुश हैं। हम इस गवर्नमेंट का शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं, फौज ने और गवर्नमेंट ने इसका बदला लिया।
Since their partition in 1947, India and Pakistan have fought several wars. But this time, India's Operation Sindoor sent a resounding message. The country's resolve to defend its citizens and sovereignty remains unshakable. The strikes, precise and calculated, not only dismantled terrorist networks but also reaffirmed India's commitment to justice and peace. Though the path to peace remains fraught with challenges, this bold action has sent a clear signal to all. India will not tolerate terrorism, and its patience, though vast, is not without limit. The fight for peace continues.
Nepal's vibrant Red God Chariot Festival has begun with centuries-old traditional rituals in the historic city of Lalitpur. Devotees gathered in large numbers as the chariot of Rato Machindranath, revered as the god of rain and harvest, were pulled through the streets. This festival, a symbol of communal harmony and cultural heritage, marks the start of weeks-long celebrations deeply rooted in Nepali tradition and belief. Have a look.
The Rato Machindranath Chariot Festival, one of Nepal's most important religious events, began on Thursday in Patan, Lalitpur, with the long chariot procession moving through crowds of worshippers. The festival, which honors the god of rain and harvest, features a 42-foot tall chariot carrying the deity through the streets, accompanied by traditional music and rituals. The festival is deeply rooted in Nepalese culture and folklore. According to legend, the chariot procession was started in 897 AD to commemorate Lord Machindranath's feat of bringing rain to the city of Patan after a severe drought. The festival celebrates the deity's power to bring prosperity and rainfall to the region. The chariot is constructed annually by the Nuwa community using wooden beams and traditional craftsmanship without using a single nail. The procession runs for over a month and is led by troops of musical performers and features traditional rituals and ceremonies.
अब हामीले यो तयारी गर्नको लागि अलमोस्ट 1 मन्थदेखि तयारी गरेर हुन्छ हैन। अनि अब यो जात्रा भनेको अब एकदम खुसी हो के हामीलाई। यसमा इन्भल्भ हुनको लागि नै हामीलाई अब धेरै खुसी लाग्छ हैन। अब हामीले ट्रेनिङ गरेर हुन्छ यसको लागि, त्यसमा नि खुसी हुन्छ हैन। यसमा इन्भल्भ भइराख्ने हरेक चीजमा इन्भल्भ, जात्राहरुमा इन्भल्भ हुन्छ, धेरै खुसी लाग्छ हामीलाई।
According to the lunar calendar, the longest chariot festival of Nepal begins on the 4th day of the bright fortnight of Bachala, the 7th month in the lunar Nepal Sambat calendar. Still, this year it didn't fall as per the set-out rule.
खास गरी यो जात्रा मनाउनुको मेन कारण भने चाहिँ यो भ्याली भित्र चाहिँ पानी नपरेको कारणले हैन, त्यो एउटा इन्डियाबाट कामक्ष भन्ने ठाउँबाट लिएर आएर यता अब भक्तपुरको राजा काठमाडौँको गुबा जो ललितपुरको ज्यापुहरुलाई लिएर आएर अनि त्यसपछि यहाँ पानी पर्नको लागि वर्षाको देउता भनेर अब यहाँ जात्रा मनाइराछ।
The Rato Machindranath festival is integral to Nepal's cultural heritage, showcasing the country's rich traditions and customs. The 2015 earthquake and the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the festival, but it has now resumed, bringing vibrancy and cheer to the people of Patan. There is a belief that the residents of Bhaktapur can pull the chariot to their place and keep the god for 6 months if the procession fails to take place before Dashain, the major fortnightly festival observed in Nepal during the month of October.
Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Transport workers held a strike in Buenos Aires to demand a salary adjustment, leaving many stranded in empty bus stops. According to the Union of Motor Transport Workers, the strike followed stalled negotiations over salary increases that have been ongoing for 4 months. The government of President Javier Milei said the strike was taking passengers as hostages and qualifying it as extortion, while union leaders pointed to widespread desperation among workers. This strike highlights the ongoing economic struggles in Argentina, where despite the government's success at stabilizing high inflation rates, workers' purchase power remains low. When Washington announced higher tariffs and the axing of a de minimis rule that allowed for low-value packages from Hong Kong and mainland China to enter the United States free of duties, Quinn Lai felt it was game over for his watch brand. Lai is the founder of DIY Watch Club, which sells do-it-yourself watchmaking kits to the overseas market, with over 80% of his shipments going to the United States. Starting from May 2nd, low-value packages from China and Hong Kong have been subject to a 90% tariff or a flat fee of $75, part of a punishing trade war between Washington and Beijing. Lai estimated the impact on his company's US revenue to be around 20% to 30%. When the tariffs hit in April, Lai's company swiftly boosted its marketing efforts to target Europe, increasing ads on social media and sending their toolkits to some online influencers for unboxing. Lai said he decided to target Europe as a market rather than Southeast Asia, as he expects e-commerce sales in Europe to perform better for his particular industry. Thousands of Hindu devotees flocked to Badrinath in India's Himalayan state of Uttarakhand as the portals of the temple reopened after 6 months of snowfall this week. Priests were singing Sanskrit hymns at the temple entrance, and a band contingent of Indian security personnel were playing musical instruments before the authorities granted access to the devotees by opening the portals. Devotees stood in long queues chanting hymns and dancing to the tunes of musical instruments as they patiently waited for the doors to open. The Badrinath Temple, one of the stops in the popular pilgrimage route known as the Choti Char Dham Yatra, mini pilgrimage of 4 abodes, which covers 4 temple towns of Kedarnath, Badrinath, Gangotri, and Yamunotri in the state, attracts hundreds of thousands of devotees every year. The temple opens for only 6 months in a year owing to the harsh weather conditions in the hilly region. Located at about 3,133 meters above sea level, devotees trek their way up to the temple to pray for peace and prosperity.
In Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, a growing disconnect between government promises and ground reality is fueling unrest. With unemployment soaring, senior leaders are sounding the alarm warning that failure to address public hardship could trigger mass protests and civil unrest. Let's have a look at the deepening crisis.
In Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, promises of jobs and development have long echoed through political rallies and campaign speeches. But for the youth, these promises have yielded nothing. Frustration is mounting as years of unemployment and deception take their toll. People were promised overseas employment and new opportunities, but what they got instead was silence.
यहाँ पे जो एक नारा था यहाँ पे रोज़गार देने का, यहाँ पे यूथ जो यहाँ पे आजकल बेरोज़गारी की वजह से बिल्कुल इंतहाई फ्रस्ट्रेट हो रही है, उनको लेके गए थे, क्योंकि उनको एक धोखा दिया गया था कि हम आपको रोज़गार के मौके वो करेंगे, बाहर मुल्क भेजेंगे, वहाँ पे आपको रोज़े, यहाँ पे कुछ भी नहीं हुआ, उनके साथ धोखा हुआ। अब ये जो यहाँ की यूथ है या यहाँ की जो वो हैं वोटर्स, वो तो सब मायूस हैं।
Locals are criticizing the hollow concept of development being used to pacify the people. A few patchy roads have been laid, but no real work is being done to uplift the local economy. Joblessness continues to spread, and with it, despair. The situation is now beyond repair unless serious intervention is made.
यहाँ पे कुछ भी काम नहीं, टोटली कुछ रोड लगे हैं, उस रोड के अलावा तो यहाँ पे 1% काम यहीं कहीं पे भी नज़र नहीं आता है। यहाँ पे सिर्फ रोड को ही तरक्की नहीं कहते हैं। अगर कोई किसी गांव के अंदर अगर 3 रोड रखे तो वो तरक्की में नहीं आते हैं, बल्कि यहाँ पे रोज़गार के मौके आपने क्या पैदा, यहाँ पे गुर्बत को कम करने के मौके क्या पैदा किया।
As institutional trust erodes in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, public frustration is reaching a breaking point. The people are preparing to rise, demanding dignity, employment opportunities, and long overdue justice from authorities. From broken promises to shattered livelihoods, the situation in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan is deteriorating. With each passing day, the silence of the authorities becomes more dangerous. But if the government remains indifferent, the streets may become the people's only voice.
In a remarkable effort to preserve tradition, Shankar Das has revived the ancient water-powered mustard oil Kohlu in Udhampur district of India's Jammu and Kashmir. For over 30 years, Das has been dedicated to operating this wooden oil press, a technique that dates back centuries. His journey reflects a commitment to purity, sustainability, and India's rich cultural heritage, as he keeps alive a method that is slowly fading in today's modern, industrialized world. Take a look.
The revival of the water-powered Kohlu in Udhampur is offering more than just nostalgia. This traditional setup is producing pure mustard oil using a chemical-free sustainable method. At a time when concerns about adulterated food are growing, the return of such practices is being welcomed for both their health and heritage value.
बड़ी बड़ी मशीन है जहाँ से वो तेल निकलता है, लेकिन ये हमने एक प्राचीन ज़माने की चीज़ को इसलिए ज़िंदा रखा है कि आज का समाज, आज की जो जनरेशन है वो देखे कि ये कोल्हू क्या होता है, इस कोल्हू में कैसे तेल निकलता है। और इस कोल्हू का तेल जो होता है हमारे जहाँ पहाड़ों में जो सरसों होती है वो बिल्कुल शुद्ध सरसों होती है। उसके सरसों में कोई किसी किस्म का जहरीली खाद इस्तेमाल नहीं होती, गोबर से तैयार होती है। तो वही सरसों हम इस कोल्हू में डालते हैं और उससे ये शुद्ध तेल निकलता है, जिससे इस तेल से अगर किसी को सिर में दर्द है तो ये तेल लगा लो तो सिर दर्द दूर हो जाएगा। जुकाम है, पीठ में कमर में दर्द है, तो बहुत सी बीमारियों पर भी ये तेल जो है एक तेल नहीं है बल्कि ये एक दवाई है।
With zero electricity use and minimal operational cost, Kohlu offers an affordable livelihood. In remote and mountainous regions like Udhampur, where employment opportunities are scarce, such grassroots models are helping families become financially stable. The impact is visible in the community. Locals recognize this revival as a way to address growing health issues due to adulterated oils. Advocates stress the value of scaling such models across villages with natural water sources, not just for health but also for rural employment.
आजकल जो भी अडल्ट्रेशन इतनी ज़्यादा हो गई है कि मतलब देखो बच्चों के देखो बाल सफ़ेद हो रहे हैं, या किसी को कोई हार्ट की प्रॉब्लम बन रही है, या किसी को कोई कोलेस्ट्रॉल की प्रॉब्लम बन रही है, या सौ और भी चीज़ें हैं जो नई जनरेट हुई हैं जो पहले हम देखने को हमें नहीं मिलती थी। तो मैं अर्ज करूँगा कि ये बाकी लोगों से भी अर्ज करूँगा, मैं गवर्नमेंट से भी अर्ज करूँगा, गवर्नमेंट खैर कर भी रही है, तो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इस चीज़ को जो लोकल जिसे हम बोलते हैं, वोकल फॉर लोकल भी होता है जी, तो लोकल जो है तो लोकल ये कोल्हुओं को इनको ज़्यादा बढ़ावा दिया जाए ताकि इससे जो हमारी जनरेशन्स हैं उनको हम प्योर तेल वगैरह मिल सके।
Beyond economics and health, the traditional water-powered mustard oil Kohlu in Udhampur is increasingly capturing the curiosity of tourists, researchers and young learners. Its quiet, rhythmic operation and eco-friendly process after a unique glimpse into the sustainable wisdom of the past. For many locals, Kohlu is not just a method of oil extraction, it's a living classroom and a cultural bridge. They believe that reviving and showcasing such practices can reconnect future generations with traditional knowledge systems and encourage respect for sustainable, locally rooted technologies.
As we wrap up today's episode of South Asia Today, we thank you for joining us. We'll return next week at the same time with more insights and updates. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of our entire team. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.